Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy of September 2021. We're going to take a look initially at the energies that may surface for the collective, which we're all a part of, and then we'll take a deeper dive into your personal life path number. So let's go ahead and get started. So September is a 14-5 energy, which of course boils down to a 5 energetic cycle. But that 14 is influential, okay? So we need to keep that in mind, and I'm going to touch on the energies of the 14 as we move through the reading. But ultimately, this is a 5 energetic cycle. So we have a 5 universal year that we're currently moving through in 2021. And now that 5 energy is enhanced by a 5 universal month. So we can expect great changes that occur abruptly and without much notice. So if ever there were a time to be flexible and full of grace for self and others, it's during a 5 universal year coupled with a 5 universal month. So buckle up, baby, because it's about to get bumpy. But in a good way. Okay, so things under a 5 energy move very, very quickly because it's a fast-moving energy, right? So you may see incredible shifts and transformations within your life at this time. You may never have even seen these shifts coming, right? They just seem to come out of nowhere. This energy can sort of see people completely uprooting or changing their entire life story within the blink of an eye. This energy can often feel like a sort of greater power or higher power is sort of taking the wheel and taking over, and life is almost happening to you. Generally, where this ride takes you will lead you to the realization of, oh wow, I never would have thought to do that or to be this, but I'm so glad that I did, right? So it's like, again, it's like this higher power swoops in and hits fast forward on the story, and where you end up, you ultimately realize is a perfect place for you at that time, if that makes sense, right? So that realization may take some time to get to, but understand that when these big shifts come in, they come in to assist, not to penalize. This isn't vindictive energy, it's transformational. Both can feel incredibly challenging, right? To go through. So when someone's being vindictive, that's a challenging energy to go through. When you're going through some kind of transformation, that is also incredibly challenging at times. So however, the transformational energy will leave you in a better place from where you started. So you just need to keep that in mind. Whatever challenges you face, whatever you're going through, during this 5 energy that is transformational will leave you in a better place than where you started, okay? Even if it takes a little bit of time. So try not to fight this energy, but rather move with it and work with it the best that you can, okay? So speaking of the 14, remember I said 14 is going to have an influence in this energy because it's the influencing number to the 5. So under the influence of the 14, there's this emphasis placed on modification. So life may feel like it's happening to you at times, but you can always find ways to modify or work with the energy to make it work for you without fighting it. It's very possible that the modifications that come up for you at this time to be explored or, expanded upon are modifications to self, to relationships, to career, and to lifestyle that have needed to be adjusted for a while. So this isn't necessarily going to blindside you or be surprising, although for some people it might be, right? It might be one of those things where you're sort of stuck in your comfort zone, stuck in a relationship that's toxic, stuck in a belief system or a lifestyle that's toxic, and you don't realize that it needs to be modified or changed. So it might blindside you, right? It might come in quite swiftly and abruptly, and those modifications might be made. And again, it could feel like a whirlwind. But for the most part, these are going to be things where you kind of knew, you had some kind of a sense that they needed to go away, they needed to change, they needed to be modified, right? And chances are you've known that for a while. So this sort of double dose of 5 energy this month from the 2021 Universal 5 cycle year, and now this September 5 energy, is simply giving you the gentle shove in the direction you need to be facing, right? So that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That doesn't mean it's going to be without its challenges. However, the struggles and challenges that you face and overcome during this time, or at least they're initiated during this time, through these modifications, will prepare you greatly for the magnificence you're about to step into, right? So again, it's like, it can feel challenging in the moment, but you just have to keep in mind, why is this happening? Why is this coming in? What is this challenge trying to show me? Try to ask yourself as often as possible, what is this challenge trying to show me? What am I meant to learn? Right? Why is this modification coming in now? Where is it trying to take me to, and why is it trying to move me beyond the space, right? Because there's always going to be, an answer there. There's always going to be wisdom to extract from that experience, no matter how challenging. And oftentimes the more challenging, the more wisdom to pull from it. So it's the wisdom of the experience that we're meant to carry with us, not the experience itself, right? Sometimes we get stuck up on the experience where we're like, oh, that really sucked, and now I'm going to think about it and complain about it and, sort of fret about it for the next 10 years. Whereas really what the universe is trying to get us to do is to extract the wisdom from that challenging experience and move freely forward, as opposed to trying to lug that whole experience with us forward and sort of replay it, rehash it, hold a grudge, whatever the case may be. So this is going to be a really quick moving, fast energy, with a lot of transformations, right? And so through that experience, not only are we meant to move ourselves through it and adapt, but we're meant to pull the wisdom from the experience, okay? So a lot going on this month. It's a very intense month. It's a very intense year, right? So I don't really see things slowing down until we get into 2022 at least, right? So if you're looking for a breather, you're probably not going to get it right away, but that's okay, because we're all in the same boat. This is universal energy, so we're all feeling this, baby. So again, proper handling of this 14-5 energetic vibration can produce great wisdom and understanding in your experience. 5 energy can be that of again, a testing nature. It's going to test us. It's going to sort of force us to take a closer look at the challenge, the situation, the modification, and where can we extract the wisdom. It's what we choose to do with this energy that will ultimately determine our overall experience, not only now, but moving forward. And so again, we have a lot of responsibility, but with great power comes great responsibility. So a 5 energetic cycle is also a perfect time to sort of check in with yourself. This is a checkpoint. See where any imbalances lie. What's working? What isn't? Where do I need to make modifications? What do I need to invest more into? So in numerology, where 1 energy is the beginning or the initiation, and 9 energy the completion or the ending, 5 energy sits in the middle, and it's the checkpoint. It creates the space and the opportunity to make the necessary changes needed before continuing on in the journey, to make certain that the direction we're moving in is the direction we actually want to be a part of, right? You don't want to get all the way to the 9 energy and be like, oh crud, I should have switched directions way back at that 5 energy. And so a lot of times the 5 energy doesn't force our hand. We always have choice, right? But it will make things very challenging or uncomfortable to help you see what you need to see, right? And so think of this as the checkpoint. This is why we can often see so many intense and abrupt changes, occur during a 5 cycle, because some of these changes we choose, Some with, some of those changes are created for us by a higher power, but all serving to keep us aligned with our soul's highest mission in this lifetime. So the ego craves safety, security, comfort, and the known. The soul came here for so much more, right? If something feels as though it's being uprooted now, taken away, or there's a sense of upheaval, understand that true change is messy and chaotic at times, but on the other side of that chaos sits harmony, sits balance. So we can also see this playing out on the world stage quite dramatically at this time. So much change has to happen at this time in history, and it's during a 5 cycle that it can appear to be the most chaotic and the most messy. So by dismantling that which is no longer working, that takes some level of destruction and chaos, right, before the calm can enter. So that which is being dismantled often won't go without a fight, but it'll eventually lose steam and recede, right? And that's kind of, like I said, that's what we're seeing sort of play out on the world stage. We really started to see that in the 4 cycle of 2020. And now it's really coming to accumulation during this 5 cycle of 2021. And so I suspect that in September, we're going to see even greater manifestations of that chaos, of that dismantling, of those changes. Maybe not the change happening right away, but where it's highlighted where the change needs to happen. It becomes the front and center. There's no more denying it, right? So this 5 energy will ultimately teach us that the less we resist the change, the more comfortable the process of the change will feel and become. The more we resist the modifications and try to cling to what's no longer needed or no longer working, especially when it's harmful to ourselves or others, then the messier and the more challenging the experience becomes for all involved. So 5 energy teaches us to be flexible, to be adaptable to the inevitable changes and transformations that, it brings into our lives and that we ultimately face throughout our journeys. So allow September and this 5 energy to show you where modifications are needed within your life. Allow whatever changes that sweep in, to highlight for you where something was no longer working and needed an overhaul. If these changes aren't happening directly to you, perhaps you can hold space for those who find themselves immersed within this 5 energy. Perhaps you'll need to be the one creating the change in another person's experience, right? And so regardless, move as gently as possible and take full advantage of this incredibly transformational energy. It's here to help us with swift precision. So keywords this month to keep in mind as you move through this energy, perhaps it can be your mantra, is modification and adaptability. What do I need to modify and how can I be adaptable through the modification? Because I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a lot of modification either taking place this month or highlighted where it needs to take place. And then we're going to start to see that happening. And so the more adaptable that we can be, the more open we can be to the change, the more comfortable the experience will be, and the more that we will gain from the experience. Okay? All right, let's take a closer look at the life path number. Life path 33-6. So I pulled an animal spirit card for you all, and you got mole spirit. And a couple of things came through with mole. So first and foremost, moles are these little tiny, fluffy, like velvety creatures who spend most of their life burrowing underground and eating worms and, slugs and things they would find in the dirt type thing. And so they can be really beneficial in aerating yards and aerating grass and that sort of thing. And so they're these beneficial little creatures, even though sometimes they're not seen as so beneficial because they create these tunnels within your yard and that sort of thing. But they're beautiful, needed little beings. But with moles, they're sort of very adaptable. They've adapted to live a life underground, like to be able to maneuver through their burrows, to be able to sense the vibrations of, whatever it is that they're hunting or looking for. So they work through, because they have very poor eyesight. They can see, but they have very poor eyesight. And so they've learned to sort of adapt, or through evolution, they've adapted. And they follow the frequency, they follow vibrations, right? And I love that, because I feel like for this month, you all are going to be asked to sort of take a deeper dive down into your senses, to be able to sort of follow the energy and read the energy, as opposed to just reading what you see in the physical 3D realm. Sort of go beyond the illusions, right? Adapt into a higher level of thinking by using those senses, right? And 33 sort of come to this planet with, as being highly sensitive, right? So this is probably not going to be very difficult for you all. But with mole's energy coming through, I just feel like this is a message for you to tune in this month, especially to the frequencies, right? To reading the energy of the room, as opposed to reading the room based on what you can see. And you probably already do that already, right? You probably do that already. But this is going to ask you to sort of focus more on that, to do that even more in your daily interactions. In, again, where things within the physical aren't always as they appear, right? What you see isn't always what you get. And so I feel like with mole, this is just a reminder to use those deeper senses. Use your sort of intuitive senses, your spidey senses, to be able to read the situation, to go deeper, to feel the vibration, okay? Because that's going to give you the greater insight in making the decision, in having the conversation, in whatever the situation may be. But there's definitely this sense of, this month especially, tune into those frequencies, tune into your intuition even more so, and follow it, trust it. It's going to show you what you need to see. For some of you, I'm also getting this energy of, you've perhaps been sort of doing a deep dive for many, many months. You've been doing a lot of shadow work. You've been doing a lot of internal work. And now you're sort of coming up from the depths and like sort of resurfacing, right? And so again, I sort of just see like this little mole coming out of his burrow from having been down in the depths for a long time, and coming out into the light and sort of adjusting to this new world, this new sort of environment. And so for some of you, this could be a period of integration for you, like you're moving into a different situation, maybe something that you haven't experienced before. And so this can be a period of integration. Maybe it's like a new relationship, maybe it's a new job, a new career, or something like that, but that's more aligned. Because like, again, you've sort of done a lot of the internal work. You know what you will accept and what you won't accept. You know what you need and what you're not willing to compromise on. And so now stepping into the world in this new sort of enlightened side of yourself, right? There's this period of integration that has to take place, where now you need to sort of incorporate this new side of yourself, this new world, this new environment into your experience. And so that can sometimes be a little bit challenging, but it will pay off, right? And so I just kind of get this sense with mole spirit of like an emergence, coming up from the depths, coming up from the shadows, and stepping into the light, stepping into a new environment, right? That you're not used to, that's outside of your comfort zone, that's outside of what you know, and needing to go through a period of integration and understanding that through that integration, there will also be changes and adjustments and modifications, and figuring out how to incorporate that. So it's very possible that that could be for some of you as well. So whatever the case may be, I'm definitely getting with Mole, he's saying, trust your vibration, trust the vibration of others, trust your own energy, trust the energy of others, right? and trust your intuition, trust the inner knowing. And then also be brave when you come up into this new environment, into this new world, and explore it and allow it to show you what it needs to show you as you integrate it into your experience. So, very wise words from Mole. Now, I broke the month down into 4 weeks for you all, and this is a beautiful month for 33s. The energy is just incredible. I definitely see, again, sort of that emergence into a new situation, but I see you kind of moving into calmer waters, into something much more aligned. And so you can see that sort of playing out throughout the month. Very first week of the month, we see this energy again of like something coming to an end, something closing out. This could be like an old side of yourself, like the death of an old side of yourself that you were just stepping out of, like shedding that skin, right? Like you've been in that process of doing that, I feel like for some time now. And it's kind of like you're like the butterfly that's now emerging from the cocoon. You see what I'm saying? Or the mole who's emerging from his burrow into something much more aligned. And so this is beautiful energy. This is, you've done the hard work. You've done the transformative work. Not to say there won't be more transformations along the road. Of course there will be, because this is life. And especially being in a 5 universal year and a 5 universal month, there will definitely be more transformations. But I feel like a big, like this is a big step for you, whatever this is. And you're moving into something that is much calmer, much more aligned, and it feels good. It feels different, and that can feel a little bit challenging, right? That can feel uncomfortable. I don't know if challenging is the right word. It can feel a little uncomfortable because it's different than what you know, right? But it's beautiful and it's very much aligned. And so you'll feel that push to keep going, to continue to integrate. Second week, we have this very fast moving energy of, again, sort of like you being the creator of your story and you recognizing that and you deciding what it is that you need and what it is that you want. And again, what you're willing to compromise on, what you're not willing to compromise on, and standing sort of firm in that and allowing the sort of chips to fall how they may, with whether people are willing to accept that or not accept that. And you sort of being okay with however it works out. Like you've gotten to that place where you recognize that we're all on our own individual journey. And when we can communicate what we need and understand that not everybody is going to be able to meet us there, but that's okay. We're still going to stand firmly in what we need to thrive, because the people who can support us in that will find us. It's kind of like you stepping into your power and you recognizing that you get to create the environment, the world that you want to live in, right? And, your world is, of course, your sphere of reality. And so you get to create however that looks. Yes, there are outside influencing forces, but it's like this kind of like epiphany coming in for you where it's like, you're like, okay, I don't like this. And so let me figure out how to release it. Or I really enjoy this. Let me figure out how to have more of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you recognize that even though you can't see all of the pieces or how it's going to happen, you're beginning to recognize what it is that you want, what it is that you need, and what it is that you need to do to be able to get there. And again, using those more internal gifts, right? Those more innate gifts to assist you in that process. And this is a very fast moving energy in the second week. So it's like, I feel like things just start coming in for you where it's like, okay, maybe you have some time where you sit with yourself and start to realize what it is that you want, what it is that you want to create, what kind of relationships you want to have. And then you start to work with the understanding that you are the creator of that story and you get to write it how you want to write it. You see what I'm saying? And so even if things come in that are out of your control, you get to decide how you move through that experience. And so I feel like for some of you, this is going to be very empowering. This is going to be a very empowering week for you, where you don't have to settle or overly sacrifice yourself, right? To sort of fit the norm or fit what's expected of you, but rather you can create the situation that meets your highest potential. Okay, instead of, again, sacrificing or over sacrificing who you are, what you need, and that sort of thing. So I just feel like this second week is going to be a lot about epiphanies coming in, inspiration, and again, you recognizing how much power you actually have when it comes to your storyline and the people and the experiences that you participate in. And that can be incredibly empowering. So I just see this second week as just really, really empowering. It's like the first week you're shedding that dead skin, you're moving into something that feels much more authentic. And again, that can be career, relationship, purpose, whatever. But you're moving into something much more aligned. You're, again, coming out from the depths into a new world. And this is the time for exploration and for figuring out how you want that story to look, how you want to write that story. And I feel like that second week, you're starting to get a bunch of inspirations and ideas for the storyline. And again, this can be incredibly empowering. The third week, once again, this is you standing in your sort of sovereignty, in your authenticity. And this is a very independent energy this third week. I feel like you've got, now that doesn't mean that you can't be in a relationship or anything like that, but this is like finding your independence within relationships, right? Like not losing yourself in the other person, not losing yourself in your career, not losing yourself in, what others expect of you, but rather finding your own independence and seeing the value in your contributions. I also see this being a time, this third week, where you're going to have a lot of options and you're going to need to make a lot of decisions. And it's going to be really important that you make those decisions from a space of your own truth. Okay, like again, not doing what you think you should do or what other people are telling you that you should do, but moving from that space of the inner knowing of this is what is going to help me to thrive. This is what is going to best serve me. So I'm going with this option. And it could be that you have several really good options to choose from, but you can't choose all of them. So you really need to kind of sit with which ones are going to serve you best. So yeah, I just see this being a week of incredible options, incredible opportunities that can lead to a lot of stability, a lot of growth, a lot of, sort of reaping what you sow in a very profound way. This is a beautiful, beautiful energy. And again, there's also that level of independence. So don't lose yourself in your experience. Don't lose yourself in other people. So if you're entering into a relationship or something like that, just be mindful of, again, standing in your truth and complementing one another as opposed to sort of forcing the other person to morph into what you want them to be and vice versa. So powerful, powerful energy that third week especially. And I do feel like it's going to be a little bit of a hectic time for you and you're going to have to make some very decisive decisions using your own discernment, which you're very capable of doing. But sometimes for 33s, it can be challenging because, again, it's such a nurturing energy. And so you have a tendency, especially when you're in your lower expression, to want to please other people, right? Be that perfectionist. And I think this whole entire month is going to be sort of pushing you to, again, find your own truth, find what you desire and what you need and what you're willing to compromise and what you're willing not to compromise on, and standing firm in that and setting those healthy boundaries. So really powerful, beautiful energy. Really empowering energy. Let's put it that way. I love that because this is very empowering energy for you 33s this month. It is, of course, what you do with the energy, but it's definitely there for you. And then the fourth week, again, beautiful energy. Just seeing this very, it's almost like you stepping into the center spotlight and you're just being fully supported at this time. This can be like people coming into your life, experiences coming into your life, funding coming into your life, money coming into your life, where you just feel incredibly supported, sort of like the world is there to assist you, right? Or your guides coming in. You could be getting some incredible downloads or messages from the spirit realm at this time, from your guides, your higher consciousness, from the angels, through your sleep, through your waking hours. And so write that inspiration down, write those ideas down. This can be coming in very quickly for you. And so this can be around creative ventures, this can be around relationships, but just it feels like where typically you can sometimes feel like you are sort of on the outside looking in or the outside assisting. Now it sort of feels like the roles are reversed and you're getting the accolades, you're getting the validation, you're getting the incredible support. Even if you're not asking for it, it's like it's coming in and you're getting recognized for maybe what you've contributed or what your gifts are, or whatever the case may be, but it just feels incredibly supportive. For some of you, this may be about travel. This may be about traveling to foreign lands and meeting new people and figuring out or sort of getting an epiphany of how you can really step into your 33 energy and help or to assist on a global scale. That's very, very possible. We are in a time with the age of Aquarius, which is also very humanitarian energy. And so this can be a time for figuring out how you can contribute to a greater humanitarian effort in a way that allows you to feel good about your contributions, or will even bring recognition your way, right? So that you can kind of be in the spotlight to use your platform or whatever the case may be. And of course, you can just look at what's going on in the world globally at this time in history, and never before has 33 energy been needed more, right? It's like there's so much going on that just requires unconditional love and understanding and compassion and kindness and assistance. You see what I'm saying? And so it could be that you come up with some kind of way to really assist others at this time. So, and that could be sort of what's kind of building throughout the month for you. That feels very specific. It's not going to be for every 33, because again, you really step into your 33 energy, the higher octave of the 33 energy later in life. You'll face the challenges of the 33 energy throughout your lifetime, but you really step into the higher octave sort of later in life or midlife. So I don't feel like that's going to be for everyone. However, for some of you, you could get really big epiphanies at this time in how you can make a greater contribution to the world, right? On a global stage, on a bigger platform. That's very, very possible. And I'm seeing this energy at the end of the month is big energy. It's very like uplifting energy, and it has a further reach than you. You see what I'm saying? And so, but it's through your contribution. So I'm not sure what that is or what that looks like. On a smaller scale, this can be energy around like you getting some kind of recognition, getting some kind of accolades, feeling very, very supported, feeling like you have a voice, like you're understood, which can be very powerful and empowering. And so, embrace that as it comes in. So hopefully this is helpful in kind of giving you an idea of the energies that you're working with throughout September. Very powerful, very empowering energy this month for you and for others, and what you can contribute to helping empower, how you can contribute to helping empower others as well. So this is going to be a time for little mole to come out of the burrows and step into a bigger world and figuring out how they can contribute in some way by using that your innate gifts, right? And your intuition. And remember, this month is going to be a lot about breaking through the illusion and reading the energy. So I would say this month, when you're making your decisions, when you're trying to understand a situation, yes, communication is going to be key, but pay close attention to the energy, to the vibration, to how you feel, right? And if you're a 33, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're more than likely very sensitive to energy and to, high energy, high frequency, low frequency. So just pay attention to that, because I feel like that's going to give you greater insight than what you can see with your physical eye. And that's the case pretty much all the time. But I feel like it's going to be really like sort of heightened throughout September. and that is going to assist you in your process. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you, 33s. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.